Hi, my name is Spencer Goodwine, and I am going to talk to you today about ES6 Symbols. ES6 Symbols are a little-known thing that came out with ES6 that you may or may not have heard about. So what are the data types in JavaScript that we know of before ES6? It was strings, numbers, boolean, null, undefined, and object. With ES6, we get symbols. And so you might say, oh, that's cool. What are they? Symbols are immutable. They're unique. There is no literal syntax to them in the same way you might think of a string. They are made with a factory function called symbol. And for anyone that has been using Ruby or is familiar with Ruby, these are not the same thing. Below is a little example of what a symbol would look like. You have a variable that accepts a symbol that's being returned by the symbol function, and you can also add a descriptor to the symbol function that we'll see how that is portrayed later. Symbols are unique little snowflakes, so no two symbols are the same. And as you can see in this example here, just instantiating symbol returns false. And if you include the same descriptor, it would return false. So you might say, well, what are they for? Well, they're pretty useful, and there's a very specific use case here that I'm going to walk through with you. Well, there's two use cases that they're very useful for, but the most useful is using them as object keys. Now, I'm going to do a little live coding demo with you to show you what I mean. So let's say that you just got your new job at Googlebook, and you're on a team, and they're asking you to work with a very large object. So I'm just going to create a large object. So I'm going to build that real quick. $10,000 plus. So now let's say massive obj. Let's just set it to A equals I. So I think, all know what's going to happen here. We are going to overwrite A in this object 9,998 times. So if we just take a quick look at the object, just to confirm that, we can see that we have one key value pair. So that's not really what we want to do. So if you could imagine a situation where you have a very large objects with keys that are 5 or 6 years old, and you come in and you're like, hey, I'm going to make this cool new key called A. And you set A to some number or some string. And what you didn't know is you thought you were being clever, but someone 5 years ago made a key value pair with the key A. You just overwrote that key value pair, which can have really bad results. So what you would do in this case is instead of using a string, let's just copy this for the sake of speed. So let's just say, instead of A, we're going to say symbol A. And let's just see what happens. Okay, well, that looks cool. Let's do a direct or deep inspection on that. Another massive object. Okay, so, it's undefined. Might be running a little slow here. Okay, well, what's supposed to happen here I think it's a little too big. So what would happen here, what should happen here, I might have used too big of an example. I did this earlier and it worked. Oh, whoops. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yep, okay. Okay, that's why. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, so if I can, you can see now that we've got 10,000 keys, and they're all unique. So in this case, you're not going to run into a situation where you might accidentally overwrite a key, which is very useful, especially when working in large data sets. So then looking at this, looking at concepts very quickly, let me just close out of here. And if I quit Google Chrome, I'm probably going to lose everything, but give it a shot. Yeah. Okay. 1 second. I guess the live coding thing might have not been the best idea here. Okay, let's get back at this. So in this case, you can see, so we're using a switch statement here. What we can do here is so right here, we have strings associated with different variables. But you can see that the color red is set to, the string red is set to the color red, but it's also, the string red is set to the mood angry. So in this case, if you returned either the mood angry or the color red, you're going to receive, what's going to be returned is the string red. But you're going to lose context of what it actually was for. So was it the color or was it the mood? So in this case, if you used a symbol, you would have a unique value for red, and you would have a unique value for the color red, and you have a unique value for the mood angry. That's just a very quick look at how you might use it as it relates conceptually. So the fine print, there is no coercion, no direct coercion with symbols. A symbol is not a constructor function. It can be, sometimes it can be mistaken as one. And some object methods ignore, are actually ignored symbols. So what's ignored? Object keys, object get own property names, and you will not be able to use a for-in loop if you have symbols for your keys. What's accepted? Object get own property symbol. So this will return to you all the symbols in an object. Object assign, reflect own keys. This will actually return all symbols in an object and any other keys in an object. So if you have a mix of symbols and other pre-ES6 keys, you'll get both of those. And you will have to use a for of loop when you're dealing with symbols in order to iterate through. So some symbol methods I'm going to quickly touch on. The symbol .for key, symbol.key4, symbol.for takes a string. The symbol.key4 takes a symbol. And then the last one, symbol prototype to string, which I think is pretty obvious. Anything that you, that will turn any symbol into a string. So what is symbol.forKey? Quite simply, it just makes any symbol global in your program. So you will have access to that symbol across your entire program. But you have to be careful because as you can see here, if I use a symbol.for, a symbol.for does actually equal, this is a true statement, symbol.for foo. So symbol.for foo equals symbol.for foo. That's because we're actually referencing the exact same symbol. We're not actually using two different symbols and saying those are equal. We're actually saying this symbol is equal to itself in this situation. And then, so symbol.keyFor symbol, this searches for a symbol on your program globally. So if you want to check to see if a symbol exists, this is what you would use. And then I'll quickly touch on symbol.iterator. So we all are pretty familiar with iterator, the iterating properties of arrays, typed array, string, map, and set. This is actually symbol.iterator in action. And what's cool is that you can actually make your own iterator in any object if you set the symbol.iterator property on that object. With the note that you would need to use a for of loop. So this could be pretty useful in a number of cases. And if you'd like to know a little bit more about symbols and their uses, here are some different places that I got my information. I highly recommend watching Code Whisperer on YouTube. He's quite a character. And I hope that you will, I think we all find a lot of value of these as we go further with our careers. So anyway, hope you enjoyed. Sorry for the technical difficulties, and yeah.